another video for you using some of the elements of Google, the G Suite. And today I want to look at Google Forms and making them cheat-proof. We have a lot more online learning these days. These times are difficult for teachers, and we have to find a way to move more of our stuff online. And Google Forms is a great way of doing that. They're great quizzes. You can use them for summative or formative assessment. They're very good and they're very useful. I will later on do a video on how to access those sorts of features, how to use them as a quiz. But what I want to do today, for those of you who already use them as quizzes, I want to look at the idea of making them cheat-proof. And there's a couple of things that you can do. The first, incredibly simple, very easy thing to do. If you go into settings here and you click on quizzes, you turn on locked mode. Now, if you turn on locked mode, as you see here, they can only do it using a managed Chromebook. So Chromebook's managed by your network. So if you have a school network or college network and you are using Chromebooks, you can click that on. They won't be able to see the internet. They won't be able to use any notes they've got. They won't be able to access anything other than the screen with the quiz on. There is, however, one drawback that I've noticed with this, and that is that some of our students who are using the accessibility features of a Chromebook will struggle. They can't access this and them at the same time. So that's something to be aware of. Do make sure that you know which of your students are accessing them, and you may have to either make a different copy or consider not using locked mode. The other one, the next one, is, again, it's quite simple. I like to use this one. And again, you go back up into settings, and it's a very simple thing up here, is that you can, if you go into presentation, sorry, not quizzes, if you go into presentation, you can see shuffle question order. And what this means is that if you've got two students sitting next to each other, okay, they won't necessarily see the same question at the same time in the same place on the screen. Here's a copy of the one that I was looking at there. You can see here, question 1 asks me some questions about source D, but if I refresh the page, so that it updates, question 1 now is asking me about source A. And if I refresh the page again, it's now back to asking me about source D. I'll do it one more time. Sorry that my picture keeps disappearing, but here's a multiple choice question about something else. So adding in that shuffle question order is great. Once again, there is a small caveat with this, and this is that normally, I think many of us would put as the first question collecting the student's name, so that makes identifying responses easier, and it helps us to tidy up the data when we export it to a spreadsheet a bit later. But if you add on the shuffle questions, the name question will get shuffled as well. You won't have that. You can't pin it as the first question. So what I tend to do for that one instead is I take out the name question, and I see here, this form is automatically collecting email addresses. So as long as you, again, go up into this one, in general, collect email addresses, click on that, okay, and then limit to one response if you want, and you can see that that's what you are able to do to sort of keep the names instead of having to have them in the middle of the quiz. Just answer the name question. The third tip I've got, the third thing that I use is very simple. So here, for example, you have a multiple choice question. Okay, two students again sitting next to each other. Maybe they're looking over, maybe they've got the same question there. But if you look here, these three dots, you can shuffle order, option order, so that when the question comes up, whenever the question comes up, they may not necessarily have these options in the same order. You can see there, so they come up this way, and I shuffle, it's in the three dots, shuffle option orders. If we go back to this one, if we look at this first question here, what do you think was the most important reason why many people in Britain gave their support to the Anschluss? You can see pacifism, Treaty of Versailles are the top two. So if I refresh that, and there we go, here's the question. Pacifism's number 3, Treaty of Versailles is number 6. Very simple way of making sure that they don't see the same option. They can't cheat from someone else. One final way, if you're going to use it as an online test, one way that you could do this to reduce the amount of options available to them, to anyone you're worried about maybe wishing to cheat or to use extra resources. It's very simple. I would use it and limit it by time. So schedule the announcement. So say you put the test out at 1 o'clock. You tell the students that this quiz is going live at 1 o'clock. There is an add-on that you can get which will limit the time. So, for example, if you go into add-ons here, I'll show you. These are the ones that I've got installed. The one you're looking for, it may be installed if you've got the same network as me. It's one that our network likes. It's called Form Limiter. And this allows you to set a limit on answers. So if I just click out of this, if I go into here, because I've got it installed, if I go into my add-ons here, and I go into Form Limiter, if I click on that, it doesn't seem to want to work today. I'll try again. So the Form Limiter, unfortunately, it's not working quite well there. Basically, what it does is it allows you to set a time. So I could then say to the students that this is going live at 1 o'clock. And then I can set the Form Limiter to say that it will no longer accept any responses after, say, 2 o'clock, which means that you've got an hour to do the test. Or whatever time limit you give it, which means that it reduces the amount of time available for them to cheat or anything like that. So that's a very useful one. Apologies that it didn't quite work. As I've shown you there, it almost always works, and I suspect it didn't work because I was fiddling with it and practicing a little bit earlier. I'll just give it one more time, see if it works. No, it's not working there. But so those are my ways of making Google Forms cheat-proof. 1, locked mode with a caveat. 2, shuffle question order. 3, shuffle option order. And 4, limit the times you present it via the Google Classroom and limit the time students have to give a response. So any issues, any questions, please just put in a comment. Let me know what you think. Okay, and I'll hopefully get another one done on Google Forms tomorrow or later in the weekend. Thanks for watching. Bye.